welcome to the API Ops Tech interview. This is the first time we're doing this kind of interviews to specific persons in the industry. And this time's topic, we'll do the interview under the API Ops Copenhagen, which is a newly established group in the API Ops global network. And this time's topic is, what is fintech and why should I care? And we're lucky to have one of the industry experts and front runners and tech stars with us here, Amandeep Midha, and she's one of the best fintech experts at the moment in the startup world, but also pushing the new kind of economy forward. And as you probably know, API Ops Copenhagen is part of the global API Ops network, and we're building the standardized API value chain automation. But of course, we need to discuss the topics of what you actually can do with the APIs, and that's why we are discussing now the fintech part of it. And if you want to know more about the network itself, just go to medium.com/APIOps and you'll find information from there, links to our YouTube channels and information about the groups and the blog post as well. But as I said, this time we're going under the API Ops Copenhagen, and their information is all the events and everything is in meetup.com/APIOps Copenhagen. Go there and see what's going on and join the group. And as it was mentioned, this time's guest is Amandeep Midha. He's the CTO of Ernit, and we'll probably hear more about what is Ernit and what it has to do with the fintech in any way. And Amandeep is also our chapter lead in the API Ops Copenhagen, also a Techstars alumni. And as I mentioned before, Amandeep is active in the startup culture. He's also the organizer of Copenhagen Startup Weekend 3 times in a row. And one of the pretty interesting topics is also that he is the igniter and the founder of and the idea master of Finbot platform. But probably we'll hear from Amandeep a few more words about who is actually Amandeep.
Hi Yako, thanks for the kind words. You already introduced me, and so I just say myself, I have been programming for about 14 years, mostly in Java and Go for the enterprise systems. And yes, I have been contributed equally to the startup as well as the large corporates where I work with. Current assignment is with Ernit, which is a fintech startup. We are a digital piggy bank, and it's all about connecting up, an IoT piggy bank with banking systems, and on the other end with a seamless app for parents to use to give money to their children. So that is to combine the answers of who's Amandeep and what's Ernit, and makes us very unique as a fintech offering is because Ernit is taking the space where banks could use us, banks could give this piggy bank to their customers, and this is a piggy bank which is actually connected with money but is not holding physical money. Okay, so if you break the word fin and tech, it's like financial technology, and which is nothing new. Banks are using since 60s or maybe before. And if you actually read one of my writings during Techstars days, I'd clearly mentioned that, for example, in 2009, when I was working on an in-memory database development at a telecom company, Huawei, and my colleagues in Goldman Sachs were doing Foxpro and DBase database. I'm talking about 2010 Foxpro, and Foxpro was dead by like 97, I think. So, so that brings me to answer this question: what is fintech? Fintech is nothing but banks waking up, banks trying to catch up, banks trying to do things. These are the three things. Technology remains just where every other industry stands, and now the banks as service providers wants to come up to the level where Uber has taken service to. So some have defined as Fintech is Uber movement of banking, which is partially true, to some extent, greatly true. And second is banks willing and opening themselves to the different avenues where they could use technology to get things done. They could offer their core services as APIs. And they could offer their core services in-house, outside, like even for insurance quote, not just payment transfers, which are getting pretty common.
Mm-hmm.
If you take ICICI example, 136 APIs a bank has proposed in their hackathon last year February, and an open banking API specification. If you see 130 APIs are done there, and once the challenge is once the banks adopt, there won't be anything. If you see in next 6 months, like Harvard Business Review just wrote an article recently on fintech. And next 6 months, if you see various conferences which are happening, more than 60% of theme is fintech,
Mm. True.
and so that clearly tells that there's a big trend, there's a big spending, and in Europe specifically, it is led by the regulations that PSD2,
Mm-hmm.
that banks have to open their APIs by mid of January 2017. And yeah, we can talk separately on PSD2 and GDPR, which is coming next. And Ernit is also working actively on that, and I have been kind of roaming around the world to getting myself more literate on all these topics. The issue remains that fintech is core need, core aspiration for a bank to offer its services at a newer level than they have been used to.
Mm-hmm.
If I could give you a little brief here, this is something which started in UK by Open Data Institute offering kind of a mechanism to make banking more competitive and increase the customer service. And that was way back in 2014. Later, the draft was proposed, and initial spec of APIs were published by TSOB in Berlin, and there are version 2.2, I think now, 130 plus APIs, and now we talk about something called PSD2 standard. PSD2, which is Payment Service Directive 2.
Mm-hmm.
It is to come into effect next year, January mid, and basically it now the banks are supposed to open the information which they have been withholding, of course, with certain regulatory constraints still apply, which is basically about payment information and payment services. Payment information is all about okay, as a customer, how many, which all accounts I have, I need a list of them. I need a list of them by an API.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, how much balance I have got in the bank. So these are the information retrieval items. I do not make any changes to this data. I just get it. So this is, so there are two mandates, two subdivisions here, which is information service provider, and you can be a payment service provider.
Mm-hmm.
So information services allow all this read-only kind of operations, almost in technical terms, all the gets. And as a payment information service provider, you get remaining all the accesses, like you can make a payment, you can make a repeat of transaction. You can create another card for yourself. You can create another bank account for yourself, another bank account for yourself with the same KYC. So these are the, if you walk into a branch, what kind of things an average consumer would do if those are made available using APIs, all of them, and there will be competition among the app providers who will provide the services for your same bank, and the branches go out.
Yeah. Yes.
So so this is the primary preliminary little sort of a trigger given to the banks that okay, if you open up, which now they have been mandated to open up, that this is the customer service level expected from you. And if you want me to explain some of the scenarios or some certain APIs, I can go in greater depth if you require. Why this is important? Because here it is led by a mandate, which is PSD2. If I give you an example, Silicon Valley Bank announced that API is the way of banking way back in May of 2015, and we will make APIs. That was a press release that time. and they released their first few APIs, I think, just 10 days ago.
Hmm.
It's like 2 years to deliver just less than five APIs.
That's unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. And in comparison, if I just say, I was in Helsinki and I was talking to Nordia Finland. They are releasing their Open API sandbox this summer, and TSOB, of course, released much before. Now they are consulting other banks. Ismail is actually a personal good friend as well. So all the APIs which they are releasing, banks are not supposed to copy all of them, but provide those basic 4 or 5 services. This is the payment information. This is the payment kind of payment service.
Hmm.
Yes, we call ourselves. Actually, when we began, we had the challenge that we are a piggy bank who should be integrated well with any app or any other white label solution on with the bank, and we keep ourselves as an IoT platform. That today it's a piggy, tomorrow it could be something else. So, what's the best way to go when you have all these constraints? Is you make your solution pluggable. Uh, like plug and play is of course a proprietary term. I will say that. So, if I have the endpoint interface definitions clear between these two systems, there's an understanding which is automatically developed. So the answer, I do not have to be a rocket scientist to say that. Yeah, answers are APIs. Ernit provides APIs right now for banks to actually, if the bank wants to build their own app. So we have our own 100 APIs ready, 105 APIs. They're hosted from a Finnish API service provider, that is Appen. And at the same time, if a bank is building their own API sandbox, we just have a clear uh, description in front of us that okay, if Ernit has to integrate with this bank, okay, we need these four APIs to begin with. Okay, if you do not have these four, let's begin with these three at least, and then gradually take one step forward, like kind of a piecemeal approach.
Hmm.
Yeah, so this is what brings us a conversation about uh, how Ernit can be taken by like a large amount of banks to give a potential retention tool to its customer base.
Hmm.
Yes. Actually, Finbot platform was my assignment, which started little before Ernit itself, and that was my first twist with all this open banking. Well, Finbot platform is about building platforms where you can offer a platform to build chatbots, where you can offer exceptional customer service, which is otherwise you do not imagine.
Hmm.
If you see the latest demo, it was about an insurance claim filing that somebody just has his car crashed into something, and he wants to reach garage, that he wants to contact the insurance person. He is in that sort of a trauma. It's just come online, uh, put his policy number, which will be verified immediately, put and the chatbot asks then, okay, can you provide a photo of the vehicle? Can you share your location? All these services are now available to a mobile device. He takes a couple of pictures with geotags from other angles, and the insurance claim is filed then and there. There's no manual surveyor required for the insurance company because it's a location. Insurance company will now trigger a call to the nearest garage, and or the it will be propagated, and any garage can call back at the location. And this is like a seamless four interaction points, which is behind everything is an API. If you ask me, so behind everything is an APIs, and the core business operation is sorted out to a very seamless, unimagined before scenario of insurance claim filing. So this is just one example. We also did examples about product selection. Like I bought an insurance from Lahita Piola in Espoo, and then my profile has changed. I'm in a bigger house, and maybe I got a new partner, I got a new kid. I need to switch to a different insurance policy which serves best to my need. What is a perfect tool for such things? Why would I go spend time of a person, and plus can a can a business remain open 24/7? No,
Hmm.
labor costs are extremely high.
Yeah.
A bot can always come to use, and it gives me convenience. I can make a product selection. It can educate me at my own pace. It can be used as a retention tool. That chatbot can also tell me that, hey, you came searching for this product a week ago. That time you left the chat. Now this product is available. Would you like to buy?
Mm-hmm.
So all these avenues, all these options become available when you bring this kind of a conversational UI at forefront of your business. And we also tried a little thing with brand based bots, like a jewelry brand wants to build a bot to just educate what their brand stands for and all that. However, that experiment was not that great successful, because brand education over a bot versus giving a customer service and getting a satisfaction out of that is entirely different, which more can be measured easily. So we are focusing right now on building those consumer service providing bots and various demos. I think 3 times I have come to Finland to demo Finbot platform. There's a lot of focus on it, fintech. There's a lot of hype as well. There's a lot of expectations, and it all basically stems from there's a need that there's something fundamental catching up which needs to be done, and though that driver of that catching up is definitely the large institutions, the banks, the insurance companies, and that's why we sometimes we see the word fintech and insurtech separately mentioned. But all good, because as long as the adoption of technology becomes more stable and more mature with one form of institution and moves to another form of institution, which still has to catch up, so it can take any of these forms and any of these words.
Mm.
Fundamental driver is better customer service. If the banks or other institutions are not willing to do it, thankfully in Europe, the legislations get into action to drive such regulations that consumers are benefiting.